Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report or the summary or the SITREP for the day of 844 for the 16th of June. And Commander, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is trying to hide something. They didn't publish daily report again, like for 2 days straight. So no, there is no Ukrainian Defense Ministry report in this latest mapping. And yeah, I think I need you guys to help me to send email to tell them to please don't be lazy, please do your reports by pressing the like button. And for those that want to be secret agents to know how to infiltrate and find out what the hell they are doing, press the subscribe button. And I will, someone will contact you to tell you what to do when the YouTube is out, to tell you to watch the YouTube video of DPA. Anyway, we're going to start off with the frontline changes report. And this time round is not all red. There is positive developments for the Ukrainians over at Glipoke, over the Kharkiv front, at Serebransky Forestry at the Crimea front. The Russian forces are at Andriivka making progress, as well as Krasnohorivka a little bit. So we're going to start off with the Kharkiv front. At the Lipsy sector, Ukrainian forces are geolocated in new locations. This time around, in the northern part of this Klipoke, basically Ukrainian forces geolocated in these two different locations. But in the video, the Russians were attacking them. But it doesn't matter. This only signifies that this is the front line, and the Ukrainians have actually made progress. I mapped it in this way because there is there's no reason to believe or make assumptions that the rest of Klipoke is under Ukrainian control, because that would be a massive assumption. So we're going to continue to monitor. So this is one frontline change over at the Klipoke. The next frontline change is all the way to the Crimea front. So over at the Serebransky Forestry, the Ukrainian forces made huge progress through the forest, taking a lot of grounds around this area here. The Russian forces, however, have all the trenches, and I'll talk more about this in the strategy and tactical reporting. Don't want to review the beans. I'm not sure if I used that word, the idiom correctly. Is it even the idiom? Okay, no. See, the mystery deepens. So we're going to move on to the next one at the Bakhmut front at Andriivka. So over at Andriivka, Russian forces geolocated on the western part of Andriivka. This is the first time we have the Russian forces geolocated in Andriivka after they claim that they have captured it on the 23rd of May. So, however, this does not signify that they have captured the entire of Andriivka. It simply means that they can travel in, and they have a presence there, and there's no Ukrainians there to stop them at all. This image looks like don't think like this. It's a sock, it's a socks. It's like what you wear on your leg. Then the next frontline change after this is at Krasnohorivka, over at the Donetsk front. And so over at the western part of Donetsk city, in case you do not know, this is Donetsk city, the capital of the Donetsk People's Republic, or the Donetsk Oblast. The Russian forces now geolocated in a new location within Krasnohorivka over here. So there is some high-rise building around here. You can see it's not very, very high. It's around 5 stories high. Russian forces geolocated at one of these buildings as they started to storm up from this area here. So we have marked some frontline change around here. Clearly, this area here is where the front line is, and the Ukrainians are hitting them with whatever they can. So the battle for Krasnohorivka continues. It's a very hard battle. The Ukrainians put a lot into defending this city, because this city will just messed up everything for the Ukrainians, strategically speaking. So that's all for the frontline changes report. And we move into the strategic and tactical reporting. But before we reach there, there is some major thing happening just off Ukraine. Over at Rostov-on-Don, there is some fighting happening at the, I think, courthouse or something, detention center. So this is unrelated to the Ukrainian war. Maybe. I think the way how things happened unlikely to be related to the Ukrainians. But of course, we do not know. The Ukrainians, operates in mysterious ways. They have the power of the arcane. So, we do not know what kind of spell that they have casted. But somehow, several terrorists or defendants in the terrorist case, managed to get out of the cell, and even held two of the staff at the detention center hostage. And so 6 of these terrorists, they are so-called defendants in the case, broke window bars and entered the duty unit, or whatever this is supposed to be, because the translation is a bit weird, Russian to English. So, and these 6 guys are convicted under terrorists for participating in ISIS activities, and were preparing to attack the Supreme Court of the Karachi Chikesia in 2023. So it's very recent. It just recently. So somehow these 6 guys managed to escape and held people hostage, and then of course law enforcement come in, and these terrorists, or arrested terrorists that freed themselves and liberated themselves, demanded a car and the ability to leave Russia without hindrance. Clearly, they have no idea how attack helicopter guided missiles works. They could just give them a car and let them drive, and then send a Ka-52 and fire a guided missile at it and destroy them entirely. So they are not very wise. But of course, who knows? Maybe they have the same idea as the previous terrorists, at the Crocus, thinking that they can drive through the front line. Maybe they want to drive this way, and then go through into Ukraine. That would be smart. Where would they want to drive to? Honestly, do they drive all the way to Georgia? Would Georgia let them pass? Okay, then let's drive another direction. Let's drive all the way to Belarus. Belarus will not arrest them. Okay, maybe another direction. So they have no choice. Okay, maybe they can drive all the way to Azerbaijan. But do Azerbaijan want to be seen as ISIS supporting country? Okay, then maybe not. Then maybe they can drive all the way to Turkmenistan, or maybe to Uzbekistan. But that would be a very long drive. Then they probably will have to borrow money from the Russian state to top up petrol, and maybe. Yeah, again, where is their passport? How are they going to cross the border? So the fact that they are just as stupid as the people in the Crocus attack is astounding. So maybe the whole plan is just to drive all the way through the front line and Donetsk, and maybe enter into the Ukrainian territory, and the Ukrainians will probably welcome them to open arms, because well done, you attacked Russia, you are my friend. But clearly, whatever it is, they did not make it. So the special forces stormed the detention center, and after some firefight, there is videos of the sound of the firefight, and according to the released information, all the hostages was saved, and all the 6 guys was eliminated, which is amazing, because how does these 6 guys even get weapons? So a lot of arcane, magical, mysterious things at work. Ukrainian voodoo magic is very scary. So I'm not saying that it's voodoo, Ukrainians are involved. I'm just saying, I'm making a joke. Come on, lighten up. This is not the war. This is just some terror attack, unrelated. I cannot be doing 1 minute of silence for these 6 guys, right? So anyway, we're going to move into the strategic and tactical reporting of the Ukraine war and special military operation in Ukraine. We're going to go into the Kharkiv front. Holy shit, I spent way too much time on this terror attack. So the Ukrainians are on the counter offensive over at the Kharkiv front, and so the Russian reversal has been reversed, and so over at this Lipsy sector, Ukrainian forces, as mentioned in the frontline changes report, have taken more grounds over at Kliboke, and the Russian forces are counter-attacking these new Ukrainian positions. The Russians attack, and this geolocation around here is the geolocation of the front line. So the so while this is happening, there's also Russian information saying that there is new reinforcement coming to the Heliboke region. So the Ukrainians are going to reinforce their position after some success around this area here. So we'll continue to monitor this situation around here. Other than that, around the region, there is some shelling and attacks of the Ukrainian forces over at the Dubivka, Vysoka, Yaruha, as well as in Lipsy itself. These are all some shellings or whatever. It's not important. You just know that the Ukrainians are there. It doesn't matter. They throw bananas at them or not. So yeah, it doesn't change anything in our lives. Over at Bayrak, also it's one of the region that was struck by the Russian attack. And over at the Voschan sector, the Ukrainians are on the counter as well. So the Ukrainians are attacking this aggregate factory, and the Russians are holding their ground around here. So and there is bizarre claims of Ukrainians expanding their control over this northern part of the Voschans, which is not true. So based on the shelling geolocations, as you can see, let me zoom in a bit. The shelling at these various locations did not even change the front line at all. It is the exact same buildings that the Ukrainians have already held previously, and they continue to get airstrike and artillery strike by the Russian forces. And so the Ukrainian front line basically is more or less the same. And the exact plight is the same as the Russians over at the aggregate factory, with the Ukrainians also airstriking the Russians. So they are basically experiencing the exact same thing. So for doesn't matter you are pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian, there's nothing to celebrate. No, your soldiers are both experiencing the same thing in different part of the city. They actually share more similarities than not. So so on top of this issue, there is this unending dispute or quarrel or arguments regarding whether the Russians are encircled or not. So I did write a long post as well as sharing Deep State UA's assessment of the situation, or the report of the situation over at the Voschans aggregate factory. I just want to explain the tactical reasoning why it is not possible to encircle the Russians at this location. So if you look at the Russians in this position, so the Russians have this factory. They are in control of this factory area here, and the Russians other area here they have control is over on this part of the. Let me draw it better. At this part of this residential area, the distance between this area, clearly the one that nearer to the so-called frontline border regions is not safe. So the Russian forces maybe have positions deeper inside, but from the established front line, it's around 200 meters. So between this road all the way to the other road is 200 meters. 200 meters is not exactly a long distance, nor is it really short. I mean, if you have a sniper aiming at you or a machine gunner aiming at you, trying to run 200 meters is a death sentence as well. So but the important thing to note is that it is just a park in between. There is nothing here. There is some buildings here, but these are all flattened buildings. Every building here is all flattened. Just they just have a scaffolding left. So the reasoning, why there is all this story about the strandedness of these Russian forces over at this factory region is because of this open ground. This area here that the Russian forces will have to move through, and the Ukrainian forces have some positions in these buildings, around here in the trees, or there's some other buildings, and they basically have fire control maybe, or they can threaten fire control or fire on Russian forces that's moving from this point to the other point. This is what they call encirclement, but the reality this is not exactly encirclement. This is basically just encirclement means that the Ukrainians are here. This is encirclement. Ukrainians would have to be in the middle of this open ground for this to be an effective encirclement. So this is not an encirclement. You can call this operational encirclement, arguably, maybe, because the Russians in these buildings are not sitting ducks. They can fire out as well. So what makes you think that no, the Ukrainian forces that is currently in this position is not operationally encircled? The Russians can also fire them, cutting off their retreat out. Then they will have to go one big round, and then this area here they can also fire. So the fact, and then there is open ground here. So it is also some kind of operational encirclement. But the thing is, we don't talk about operational encirclement in such a tactical level. It's too small. It's ridiculous. This is basically normal frontline action. So that is the reason why this is not an encirclement. This is not. It's just a wrong way of classifying what is happening, and clearly this is pure propaganda and pure cope. So don't cope so much. This is you become a chicken. You become a chicken. Only chicken live in copes. So okay, actually not true. Nowadays tanks also live in copes. Like the infantry fighting vehicles, all have cope cages nowadays. So this is the current situation. And in terms of mapping, I will map it as this is under Russian control because the Ukrainians are not there, and the Russians have walked through, and they have walked through not once but many times. They have already moved through this area, this open ground, with infantry fighting vehicle, with soldiers crawling through. They have presence over there. It's just very hard to reach there. To put a example of the situation is at Klishchiivka. So previously at Klishchiivka, Ukrainian forces may have some defensive positions around here. The entire of this settlement is pretty flattened. It's as flat as it can go, and there may be some there are maybe some buildings that the Ukrainians may have some presence in the basement if there is any, and that's about it. The Russians have fire control on the settlement. That doesn't mean that these are all islands. It doesn't mean that the Russian forces have encircled all these little small circles. It's still under Ukrainian control. Doesn't matter. It's difficult to walk through the ground. It's still under Ukrainian control. So that's why the way how I map this, it can't possibly to map this as an island. That is just trying to make your supporter feel better. I don't like to make you guys feel better. I like to make you guys feel miserable. Doesn't matter if you're pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian. When the Ukrainian counter-offensive came, so many people say that I'm pro-Ukrainian because I make you feel miserable. Because I weaponize reality. I don't I weaponize reality and make you feel bad. So that's why then we have this hostage and abduct the kidnapper relationship where the more the longer you stay kidnapped by me, the more you love me. That kind of situation. I forgot what's the hostage dilemma or something else. I forgot what's the term. So yeah. So love hate. Very BDSM. So that's the situation over at the Vostochny region. The Ukrainians clearly holding the high buildings are getting hammered as well. There is geolocation. This geolocation previously that is reported in the previous SITREP is an airstrike by the Ukrainian Air Force on the Russian position. It's not very different from this artillery strike or airstrike on the Ukrainian position. It's the same. They are suffering the same shit. So just note that. So that's the situation over at Vostochny. The Russians, basically trap them there. There is no other frontline change around all this area here. There is certain map that the Ukrainians have made advance in this area here. That is not reality because the advance has already been made previously. It's just that they have not seen the reports, and they have mapped it like this. The Russians have taken along the whole road, and then they suddenly realize that the Ukrainians are there. So they mapped it belatedly. So it's not that they are wrong, but they're just slow. So very woes. So what is woes? Is WOLS. We move into the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, Russian forces are attacking in the Sinkivka region and the Petropavlivka region. As usual, these are probably just fire attacks. We never see frontline changes, or very seldom see frontline changes in this area here. Some geolocations clearly shows maybe the consequence of these reports of the attack. with airstrike near Sinkivka. This is an artillery strike, I guess, and then now this is another artillery strike, I guess. So there's some strikes or FPV drone strikes, whatever it is. Ukrainians are there. So we move on from the Kupiansk front. Over at the Sviatove front, there is there's a fire attack on Bohuslavka, basically on the rear positions along the Oskil River. Not important, because not the front line. Over the Crimea front, Russian forces are on the offensive over at Torske and Dibrova region. I don't think it's something significant. Ukrainian forces attacked through the Serebryansky forestry and took grounds within the forest. So, however, it looks very promising on the map, but if you look at the actual reality, if you look at this map of entrenchment, so this entrenchment is mapped by who? I also not sure. But anyway, whatever it is, the Russians actually still have control of all these heavy entrenchments. And these heavy entrenchments, if I'm not wrong, was previously built by the Ukrainians themselves. So the Russians are there, they're holding a defensive positions. Maybe they abandoned these forward ones because the forward ones is probably a bit hard to defend, or they got overwhelmed by the Ukrainian attacks. So Ukrainians move forward and progress a lot through the forest. And the depth of this advancement is around 2 kilometers. From the top to the south is around 1.3 kilometers. So it's a huge ground, a lot of ground being captured by the Ukrainians. But this is the easy part. The hard part is actually the one behind after this, where the front line currently is. The Russians are holding all this entrenchment, and these entrenchments are pretty extensive. These are all built by the Ukrainians to hold back the Russians. So for the Ukrainians to storm through, I think it's going to take a lot of effort. So nowadays, the fighting around the Serebryansky forestry is very, very quiet. We don't have much information about this. Previously, it was super fierce. We see Terminators and tanks, airstrikes. The Russians are sending the airborne, the VDBs over there. So it was a very fierce battleground. But nowadays, it's just very quiet. We do not know what the hell is happening. So according to the report by Deep State UA, that is what happened. So there's nothing over the Sivas front. It went quiet. We go into the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, Russian forces in the northern part attack Orikovo, Vasilivka, Krakorivka, and near Chasivia. Some geolocations of drone strikes, and what's the other one? Near Chasivia is FPV drone strike. So it's mostly drone strikes. So like I said, this is just a pinning operation. I said long time ago, for long time, that the Russians should not capture Chasivia, and I don't believe that they are going for that. I'm proven correct. The Russians just hanging around. So so maybe you're gonna take a much longer time before I can get invalidated. But I clearly don't feel like there's a point to capturing Chasivia right now. Over in the southern flank, Russian forces attack in the Andriivka region towards Bilohora as well as Kodyumivka. And particularly, we have some frontline change over at the Andriivka region. So I have been criticizing the Russian Defense Ministry because they have announced the capture since 23rd of May. We never had any corroboration until now. And even this corroboration is not even a good corroboration, in the sense that it is the Russians trying to attack through a motorized rifle unit, and their armored vehicle was under fire. Their APC was under fire, the BDRM. So they basically drove through and then they got attacked. Which means that they are not even here. The Russians is still on the other side of this railway line. So, but at least this invalidates this entire area. I don't think this can be under Ukrainian control, given the fact that the Russians can move to Andriivka. So the Ukrainians could still have this forest, but of course this is a bit hard to imagine, but it is possible. It is also possible that the Russians have this entire forest line along the railway line, which makes more sense for their declaration that they have captured Andriivka. However, the fact that they were under attack means that Ukrainians are definitely nearby through all these forest lines and all these forests. So it's still not a capture of Andriivka. Ukrainians retreating from it doesn't mean it's an automatic Russian capture. The Russians have to be there, create the buffer zone, then or have a consistent sustained attack to continue to push out, then it's more sensible to call it a capture. So that's the current situation at Andreevka. So we move on. Over the New York front, Russians attack in the area of New York, not important at all. We move into the Adievka front. So in the northern flank of the Adievka front, Russian forces attack in the area of Arkhangelsk, all the way through to Novo-Alexandrivka, and there's a report towards Vodiz-Zemka. The Russians are also reportedly attacking towards Sokyu. So this is the current situation over at the northern flank of the Adievka front, with the Russians making one massive push northward across the entire front line. So we in the southern flank, or rather central flank, Russian forces are attacking Novoselivka, Persha, as well as towards Khalivka. There is shelling reported at Komishivka, and there is a geolocation that shows that there is some hit on the Ukrainian artillery, which means that this could be related, the reports could be related to each other. And then that's all from the Adievka front. And then we move into the Donetsk front. So at the Battle of Krasnohorivka, Russian forces continue their battle fighting around here with this storming of this new building around here in the central part, center west of Krasnohorivka. In general terms, based on we previously understood, the Russians are pushing in multiple directions. They are attacking this park over here. They are pushing in this northwest neighborhood, as well as pushing west. So, but in terms of reports, we only have this one, as well as the Ryba reporting about the fighting at this Shevchenko Park. This area here, the Russians are pushing through here. So, and we move on. There is still fighting being reported at Maximilianivka, according to the Russian source Ryba. But the report is a bit weird. They say that they have began fighting in the south and the southwest of the settlement. South and southwest, how the Russians going to reach there suddenly? So I'm not exactly sure how to map this. Then they did not show mapping of Maximilianivka, so we'll continue to just wait and see how this go. And I'm very just interesting note. It's amazing that I can pronounce this easily. Maximilianivka. Maybe it's because of the English word Maximilian. So Maximilianivka seems like very easy to pronounce. If not, this should be a very difficult word to pronounce. I'm not sure. I just find it interesting. So Orakhove got struck again. The HQ for the Ukrainians around this area, and luckily, not very luckily, they got struck also by the Russian forces, and over at Paraskoviyevka, there is still fighting around here. The Ryba said that they say that they're still not captured yet. There is some fire attack on Ukrainian forces over at Volodymyrivka, and there is geolocation of artillery getting destroyed near Podbeda. So that's all from this area here. Over at the Velika Novosilka sector, there is some fire attack on the Uruzhaine region, and that's about it. There's still no news about Staromayoske. Very, very peculiar. Very, very weird. So, over the Zaporizhia front, so this is Zaporizhia city, and this is the front line. There's a weird report. So, other than the shelling at Novoselivka, there is reports. The Russian Defense Ministry announced that they have captured Zakhine, or Zagonoye, according in the Russian spelling. The Zakhine is a weird place because we have always mapped it as under Russian control. In fact, even Deep State UA's mapping also shows Zakhine as under firm Russian control. So the announcement of the capture makes not a lot of sense. Ryba actually wrote a long piece on this, to explain the possibility, of what happened, or their assessment. They said that the Russian Defense Ministry said that they have captured Zakhine, which is a absolutely small village. There's only 14 people live in 2001, and the Russians have already taken Zakhine previously. So, however, in 2023 they already knocked out the Ukrainians. It was abandoned after the Ukrainians were attacking, I believe. or due to Ukrainian activities. Then the Ukrainians got knocked out in the southern part of the village. Then the Russians did not manage to control. And the Zakhine has returned under control of the Russian forces in late May and in the 1st June. And something to do with the capture of Merne that allows them to recapture Zakhine. But if you look at the Ukrainian side, they just mapped it firmly under Russian control. So while this seems like an exciting news, I just call this Russians returning into the village that they have captured, which they have just left it alone in the gray zone. That's it. They just walked into the town that no one is there. So there's no fighting. So it's just an announcement of capture. So, you know, a bit of a cope, if you ask me. So that's all. Over along the Enohoda, the Dnipro River region, Russian forces shout. A lot of places across the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Veshchetarevka, Nikopol, Borovsky, as well as Osokorivka. So, all these locations got shelled. And it's a bit suspicious why so much shelling around here. Is the Ukrainians planning something around here? Are they trying to, do an amphibious assault across? Because it's important to note this Dnipro River is no longer this wide. Because the dam has been destroyed. It's simply just a small river. So they could cross over. So we shall see. And over the Kherson front, there's nothing. And that's about it. So, Commander, remember to send the email to tell the Ukrainians not to be lazy, and please make their reports by pressing the like button. And for those that want to be secret agents to infiltrate the Ukrainian military defense ministry and force them or manipulate them into writing the reports so that we have a balanced reporting. So this is very unbalanced, if you ask me. So I don't like it. I want the Ukrainians to do their reports. If not, then our reporting is just incomplete. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next update. And to the Muslims in the DPA army, have a happy Hajj, or in Malay we call it Selamat Hari Raya Haji. I'll see you guys in the next update.